30%. That's how many jobs like mine won't exist by 2030. I know, because mine was one of them. 4 years ago, my company brought in an AI system. They gathered us in a conference room on a Tuesday. Half the department gone by Friday. I survived. I kept my job. I remember driving home thinking, I'm one of the lucky ones. For 4 years, I believed that. Last month, I met someone who proved me wrong. Me, the other me. The one who got cut. Same skills, same age, same mortgage. In his timeline, the AI took his job at 38, no warning, no severance worth mentioning, and today he makes twice what I make. This is the story of how getting fired saved his life, and how keeping my job almost ruined mine. Here's the math nobody in that conference room wanted to hear. For 4 years I told myself the story. I'm one of the lucky ones. I stayed late. I picked up the accounts of 2 people who used to sit at those empty desks. I said yes to everything because saying no felt like handing them a reason. 4 years, 0 raises, not one. My manager called it a tough market for everyone. I believed that too. Here's what I didn't calculate until last month. Inflation didn't pause for the tough market. While my salary sat flat, prices went up 22%. 22. I wasn't holding steady. I was losing in slow motion and calling it survival. Same Tuesday, different room. His manager didn't say tough market. He said, effective immediately. I know what that room looked like because I've imagined it 400 times. The box, the badge on the desk, the walk to the car with people pretending not to watch. He told me the first week was denial. The second was panic, the kind where you refresh your bank balance at 2 in the morning. He applied to 11 jobs identical to the one he lost. 0 replies. Not because he wasn't qualified. Because that job, the exact one he had, was already being phased out everywhere. Not just where he worked. Some people will tell you this is overblown, that the market adjusts, that new jobs replace old ones. They're not wrong exactly. They're just not the ones sitting in the car. Week 3, he stopped applying to what he'd lost and started asking a different question. What can't AI do alone yet? Not what job is safe. That list gets shorter every year. The real question, where does a human still have to sit in the loop? He found it in the space between the AI and the decision. Systems that needed someone to catch what the model got wrong. Roles that didn't exist 3 years earlier, because the tools they required didn't exist 3 years earlier either. Let me be specific because work alongside AI is a phrase that means nothing until you see it. The model drafts, he reviews. The model flags, he decides. The model handles the 90% that's routine, and he owns the 10% where being wrong actually costs something. That 10%, that's the whole job now. It pays more than the old 100% ever did, because far fewer people can do it. 6 months, nights and weekends. No headline moment, no viral story. Just the unglamorous work of becoming someone the market hadn't priced in yet. Meanwhile, I was still at my desk, telling myself I didn't have time for any of that. I had a job to protect. Week 3, he stopped applying to what he'd lost and started asking a different question. What can't AI do alone yet? Not what job is safe. That list gets shorter every year. The real question, where does a human still have to sit in the loop? He found it in the space between the AI and the decision. Systems that needed someone to catch what the model got wrong. Roles that didn't exist 3 years earlier, because the tools they required didn't exist 3 years earlier either. 6 months, nights and weekends. No headline moment, no viral story. Just the unglamorous work of becoming someone the market hadn't priced in yet. Meanwhile, I was still at my desk, telling myself I didn't have time for any of that. I had a job to protect. Here's what the headlines get wrong, and I got wrong right along with them. The World Economic Forum doesn't say AI just destroys jobs. 92 million roles disappear globally by 2030, and 170 million new ones appear. On paper, that's a net gain. I used to stop reading right there. The part I skipped, it's not the same jobs, and it's not the same people. That 78 million net gain doesn't go to the person still doing the work AI already replaced. It goes to whoever moved first, and it's not just his story. Forrester ran the harder numbers, a net loss of 6% of U.S. jobs by 2030, over 10 million positions. That's the pessimist's case. Here's the part both sides agree on. The optimists and the pessimists, they argue about everything except this. The people who lose are the ones who wait to be told it's time, the ones who assume seniority is the same thing as safety. I assumed exactly that. For 4 years, my seniority was quietly becoming the most expensive thing I owned. His salary, 18 months after the layoff, up. Not by 10%, not by 20%. Companies pay a premium for people who already know how to work alongside the systems everyone else is scared of. Mine, over that same 18 months, unchanged. I had the security. He had the number. So here's where we actually stand, 18 months later. He makes twice what I make. Not because he's smarter than me. We started identical, remember? Same skills, same age, same mortgage payment on the first of every month. The difference is 18 months of being forced to move against 18 months of being allowed to stand still. I'm not telling you getting fired is good. His first 6 weeks were the worst of his life. He told me that directly. There's no version of this where I pretend otherwise. What I'm telling you is that the job I thought was protecting me was just delaying the same conversation he had to have 4 years early. We sat down last week, both of us. No competition left in the room. Just two versions of the same guy, comparing notes on what it cost each of us to learn the same lesson at different speeds. He asked me something that week that I still think about. He said, "If they'd never let you go, would you have ever moved on your own?" And I couldn't answer him, because the honest answer is no. The layoff he spent 6 weeks grieving, that was the thing that saved him the 4 years I'm still trying to get back. Same guy. Same starting line. One of us got pushed. One of us got comfortable. I know now which one was the risk. AI didn't decide who either of us became. It just forced his decision early and let me postpone mine. 30% of jobs like ours won't look the same by 2030. That's not a countdown to panic. It's just time. What you do with it, and that's still entirely up to you. I'm the other Dave. This was the day AI took his job. And the 4 years it took me to catch up.